So let's play a little game here of Would You Rather.
Okay.
Let's start with pass rushers because the other news from yesterday, Matthew Judon, the guy who attempted a hold in New England, but they said no, no. Which, I made the point yesterday at PFT. The 49ers could have done that, and I think we talked about it here yesterday too. 49ers could have done that with Brandon Aiyuk. Team has to agree to the hold in because the team will say, you're here, get your ass to work. And that's exactly what the Patriots did a couple weeks ago when they put the pads on and Judon was like, I'm not practicing. And the Patriots like, yes, you are. And after a day to cool down, Judon was like, yes, I am. Because you got no leverage at that point. You're there.
Right.
If you don't work out, if you don't practice, you get fined. You get in trouble. You eventually become Terrell Owens doing shirtless sit-ups in your driveway for crying out loud.
Right.
So teams are calling the Patriots about Judon. So between the two, and I think we look at the whole package, including the contract and the fact that you're going to have to do something with the contract.
Yeah.
And Judon's at $6.5 million this year. $6.5 million.
Yeah.
And I know people say, oh, poor guy. But no, poor guy. The market has blown past that.
Right.
So which
Nick
guy would you
Bosa's
rather have?
not 7 times better than him, right? Right?
But Bosa's getting $6.5 million a game. I'm exaggerating. But so between the two guys, which one would you rather have?
Oh, it is a close one. I'll say I would rather have Matthew Judon. That would be the guy I would want. Now, like Reddick, and they're very, as far as their pass rush ability, being disruptive like that, right? Reddick and Judon in that department, I think it is pretty close. But damn, Judon plays the run and has a physical aspect of his game that I think is different than Haason Reddick. So that's where I'd probably go with Judon, right, in that scenario. But, like, teams like – I could see a team like the Jets who wants just a guy that's wide 9 and he gets out there and we just ask him to rush the quarterback, right? They're going to like a guy like Haason Reddick. Matthew Judon, it's Bill Belichick football. Yeah, we want you to rush, but we want you to set the edge. We want you to two-gap. We want you to crash down and spill this over the top when they pull a guard. His life is a little different that way and asks to do more at that position, and that's probably why I'd like Matthew Judon a little bit more than Reddick.
So apparently the fines cannot be excused. The fines are owed by Reddick to the Jets, even if he's traded. But again, how do you collect it? Do the Jets get a piece of his paycheck from the next team? But regardless, the fines can't be waived. The fines are owed to the Jets, even if he's traded. For me, it all comes down to what's the rest of my team. How does this guy fit? Because, look, if I've got that rotation, I plug Haason Reddick into it, and off we go. With Judon, he feels like a more foundational piece.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
I hear you
right?
there.
But
You're
got to.
right.
It's going to be, what's your defense? What's your personnel? I know I'm copping out here. And also, I probably would go with Reddick because I still can't get past the fact that Matthew Judon doesn't like mac and cheese. Who on earth other than him doesn't like mac and cheese? How could you not like mac and cheese? And he acts like it's this disgusting, awful thing. You don't like mac and cheese?
No, I do not like mac and cheese. What the hell? No, I don't like mac and cheese.
What is it you don't like about it? The texture, the taste, the creaminess?
Right, exactly.
Cheese,
I'm not a big cheese guy like that. Just melted cheese on a noodle, it just ain't that great to me. And
all right, if you had the munchies and there was a bowl of mac and cheese,
I don't think I'd do it.
Nothing else.
I don't think I'd do it. There's something about that smell that I don't like. I really like cheese. I don't mess with cheese much other than just on pizza. I mean, and I don't know why it's not as cheesy smelling. Maybe I like that type of mozzarella better than, whatever else cheese is on macaroni and cheese. But no, I don't like that. And I'm not a fan of it on Thanksgiving either. Like, get it off my Thanksgiving table.
Do you not like milk either? Are you like a dairy thing? Is this like, you have something against the reproductive systems of basic farm animals?
No.
You know about this. We're well established with the chicken egg.
Yeah.
Is cow's milk in the same category?
No,
as
it's
the chicken
not.
egg?
I
It's
do
basically
that.
similar functions.
Right. No, I do the cow's milk. I'm a whole milk drinker if I do have it, or I put it in my cereal or whatever. I mean, I don't have a ton of milk anymore at my age, but it's not about that. Just not a cheese guy. Don't want macaroni and cheese on my Thanksgiving table. The Pilgrims and the Indians and the Native Americans didn't have it, so we can't have it on my table either.
How do we know they didn't have it? Did they eat turkey? I mean, that's something I never.
I don't know. Well, I don't think they had turkey. There's tons of turkeys walking around here. I think that. Macaroni and cheese, no. I'm going to say they didn't have macaroni and cheese.
But they had like they had those butter churns, so they could probably make cheese. I don't know, macaroni. I don't know. It's too complicated.
All right, so you're not sure who you'd rather have.
I'm not sure. It depends on my personnel. Depends upon my.
You
defense.
kind of said you'd rather have Judon. When you said he's kind of more of a foundational piece, I think that kind of says it right there, right? I think that's what it is. Where Reddick, you're going, wait, we want him part of a rotation or whatever. Matthew Judon, like at this point of his career right now, you're not taking him off in any scenario whatsoever, and he's a physical, dominating type of player on the edge. So I think you showed your hand a little there on that one.
All right, since we're in the neighborhood of picking between guys who aren't happy, hold in versus hold out, Brandon Aiyuk, who is still caught in an impasse with the San Francisco 49ers, and CeeDee Lamb, who is still not with the Dallas Cowboys. Between the two, which guy would you want? And again, you got to take them completely with their contract and their expectations and their situation and their talent and their age and everything that goes along with it. Which guy do you want?
Yeah, I mean, this is a tough one. These are both, you've heard me say, really damn good players, right? I don't think they're maybe quite as good as the public thinks they are. I will say that as well. You know me. I don't think they're in the class of some of those top 3-4 guys in football. But I'd go CeeDee Lamb here. I would. It's not by a lot, but I would. CeeDee Lamb, the size, the route running, right? His persona, his presence he has on the football field. Again, even though I say CeeDee Lamb's not Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson or Tyreek Hill or A.J. Brown or any of that, I get that. I still I know where CeeDee Lamb is on the field a lot more than I know where Brandon Aiyuk is. And I guess that means something to me. So I would take CeeDee.
This goes back to when we were first discussing Brandon Aiyuk's discontent after he became second-team All-Pro. 1,342 receiving yards last year. You made the point that when you watch 49ers film, there's a lot of Brandon Aiyuk wide-ass open. Is that inherent to his skill set, or is it the offense because you got to worry about Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, and Deebo Samuel, and somebody's going to get lost in the cracks? And last year, the guy who got lost in the cracks, if you're going to prioritize who do we focus on, you get down to number 4, Aiyuk's not going to get covered as aggressively and thoroughly as the other players. That said.
Right.
He was second in the league last year in yards per target at 12.7. Khalil Shakur, the Bills, had more yards per target, but he had far fewer targets.
Right.
Aiyuk had 105 targets last year, and he generated 1,342 yards. If you do the CeeDee Lamb 180, that's 2,300 receiving yards for Brandon Aiyuk. And I know that it's not, you can't say, well, let's just go back and give him another 75 targets and he's gonna shatter the single season receiving yardage record, because at some point defenses are gonna wake up and double the guy everywhere he goes if he's having those kinds of numbers. But I feel like with Aiyuk, I've been trying to think of a good example here. It's like you're going to buy a really expensive car and you want a discount because you don't drive it much. The dealership doesn't give a shit that you aren't going to drive it.
Yeah.
The car's still, the price is the price. And if the 49ers are thinking, well, he's not a key nuclear piece of our offense, and we're not going to throw it to him 150 times a year, well, I don't care. It's still a Ferrari.
Yeah, I
don't care.
Right.
I don't care if you're not going to use it the way you could.
Yeah.
You still have this guy who is highly talented. And I think, too, also, you can get Aiyuk cheaper than Lamb.
I think so, too.
Deal. I think Lamb's got 35 in his mind.
Right.
And I think Aiyuk's got 30. It was 28 before the draft.
Yeah.
There were 5 teams willing to give him $28 million per year.
Right.
And obviously it goes up since then. So I think all things considered, untapped potential, I would go Aiyuk, but there is a chance you're getting into an Alvin Harper situation. Remember when he left the Cowboys back when your dad was playing?
Yeah.
Alvin Harper goes to, where'd he go? Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay. That's right.
And number 2 becomes number 1, and he he's on the endangered species list.
Yeah. No. Listen, you said a lot of good things there. They're both really good players. There's no doubt about that, right? Last year was the first year Brandon Aiyuk really had a standout year, okay? CeeDee Lamb's got a little bit more in that. I would agree with you. You're right. CeeDee Lamb, right, all due accounts, he wants something in the Justin Jefferson ballpark, right? I've been told by people around the league, Brandon Aiyuk, he got offered north of 30, with the Browns or the Patriots if that trade went down. So, I mean, it's not that far off, right? But, yeah, CeeDee Lamb's going to be a little bit more expensive. But to your point, too, with the yards per catch and all of that, again, yeah, he's got the benefit of not only Shanahan, but all the things you talked about. So, when it's the Cowboys, like we've talked about, they put themselves in the corner here because they're like, wait, you're the only guy we got. You're the only guy we throw to. Every play is going to be for you. Aiyuk has the ability of like, hey, the pressure's not on me. Oh, there goes Kittle for 50. Oh, there goes McCaffrey down the sideline. Oh, Debo caught a screen for 35. Oh, they forgot about me. I'm wide open in the middle of the field, right? But at the same time, I think if it was like the Super Bowl and it's, oh, man, the Chiefs play man-to-man and, they get in your face, I'd rather have CeeDee Lamb in that case right there. I mean, I don't think Aiyuk scared the Kansas City Chiefs corners all that much with what he does there. He's not a guy that necessarily is going to beat you deep on the go routes and the post routes, right? And I think even less to extent of CeeDee Lamb. So that's probably where I go CeeDee over him.
And, one of the things I say every year when free agency rolls around and guys become available, one big caveat, the team that knows this player better than anyone is willing to let him walk. And the fact that the 49ers didn't pivot from Deebo Samuel to Brandon Aiyuk, because that's what they could have done. They could have traded Deebo Samuel and they could have paid Brandon Aiyuk and made him number one and backfilled through the draft or wherever you find a guy who can come in and learn the offense. And they didn't. And I think that sends a message as well. On one hand, you got all these teams that are willing to pay Brandon Aiyuk more significantly than the 49ers are willing to pay, but the 49ers have been with him for 4 years. They're making their projection, and who knows receivers better than the guy who played receiver with you at the University of Texas. So that's where it's kind of it's a tough sell here to say Aiyuk's ready to be a clear-cut number one command double coverage dominant receiver.
Right.
The stats suggest he could be, but if the 49ers believed he would be, he'd have gotten that money by now, and maybe Deebo Samuel would be in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that sentiment. I don't, right? I mean, again, we know he's good. Obviously, Shanahan and company, John Lynch and all that, like Brandon Aiyuk. I mean, you see him in person. He's got special attributes, right? He's a first-round wide receiver, and that's usually because, hey, there's things that are physically special about the guy. There's no doubt about it. But, yeah, I don't think he's the guy where any team goes, oh, man, it's a big third down. We definitely got to double Brandon Aiyuk, right? To me, CeeDee Lamb has a little bit more value in that department than Aiyuk does.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.